the fact that, people are saying, oh, eat this, eat plant-based, eat these manufactured veggie burgers because you're saving the planet. How?
Juliet, how did you find carnivore?
Through family, I guess you'd say. I well, I grew up, I'm 47, I'm going to be 48 in July, and so majority of my childhood was 70s and 80s. No, I no, I I barely remember the 70s. I have one memory from 79, but no, my memories were like the 80s and 90s, my childhood memories. And my mom has always been really interested in health and nutrition, and went by what she thought was the right thing at that time. And the right thing in the 80s and 90s, you know, she believed was like, margarine and boneless, skinless chicken breasts, which are the saddest meat. And, and the rice cakes, remember those rice cakes that look like styrofoam hockey pucks? Yeah, that kind of crap. But she did what she thought was right at the time with the wisdom of those years. And then, forward to the 90s, my teenage years. And I've kind of always had depression and anxiety most of my life. And now I realize maybe it was because of undiagnosed autism. Um, or that might have played a part in it. But I got to the point where I ate my feelings, which is the opposite of how I am now. Now, if I'm stressed or depressed, I have no appetite. But back then, I just, ate. And I was a chubby teenager. And by my late teenage years, like by 19, I was at my heaviest, like 280 pounds. I'm 5'1". And right now, well, last time I was weighed, it was 115 pounds. And I think it's less now because my clothes feel bigger on me. Um, but so someone my size weighing 280, that's not good. And if I had stayed on that path, I'd probably be dead now or very, very sick. Um, but I lost the weight in like when I was like 19 going on 20. It was when I started, and I've kept it off since. So I have only like about 5 years of my life was I fat. So the majority of my life I have not been. So that's pretty good. But I lost the weight in not the best way. I lost that first 10 pounds, and I don't know how that happened. It was a fluke, but I was like, oh great, I'm gonna keep losing weight. And I just went into some disordered eating habits, disordered thinking about food. Um, and it was torture. It was like being a prisoner in my own body, but I felt happy because I'm losing weight and people are telling me how good I look. And because when I was heavy, people were terrible. People people are kind of jerks to fat people. And in the 90s, it was really bad. Like that was the time when, remember, they had like the really sickly skinny models were in, and so it was really hard. So I was like, people are being so much kinder to me. And so that took a few years to really get into, find a sort of healthy balance. And finally, at about age 24, 25, I was starting to come out of it, thanks to actually it was thanks to just, I was dating a guy at the time, and he kind of put me in situations where I had to socialize more, and I kind of just got out of my comfort zone, or discomfort zone, I guess. I was getting more comfortable. Just I didn't feel like I had to control the environment of my food all the time, but I did feel like I had to still exercise to some degree after everything I ate. And that, like go for a walk after the slightest bit of food. So, but it was not as bad. I could eat out in public and didn't have to prepare every bite that went in my mouth. And I don't know how, but somehow I got to a healthier balance, and I got married to someone else a few years later, had my kids. My oldest son is 21, just turned 21 in March. My younger son is 16. He'll be 17 next month in May, and my daughter will be 14 in June. Um, and I got a little more comfortable, a little less afraid of food. There was always a bit of a fear, but it got better, a little bit better. And but I did try for a while. A couple times I did vegetarian, I did vegan. Vegetarian was easier, vegan was horrible. That didn't last long. I felt like crap. Um, and then eventually I was like, no, this isn't working. And once I finally got out of that mindset, oh, maybe you should eat some meat, I realized that after everything I had gone through with the eating disorder and the trial and error with, vegan, vegetarian nonsense, that my body had become very intuitive. I was realizing that I'd got very good at listening what works for me, what doesn't. And I kind of started leaning low carb without trying to. Like, I was like, wait, it's ridiculous. A burger with a bun and fries, like spaghetti and garlic bread. Like, no, this is too much. And I didn't want that. And even if I got something with carbs like a Thai curry or something, I would only put like a couple of spoonfuls of rice in it, like the smallest amount. I didn't want that much. And I realized that certain meats really made me feel nourished and good. Like my body thanked me for eating them. Like, sorry, I'm getting a little warm. Like salmon, because fish is meat. That's a little, I hate when people are like meat and fish. Like, no, fish is meat. Sorry, that's my language about food. But yes, salmon and beef are my friends. And like, in fact, the last thing I ate today, because I'm fasting now, but the last thing I ate today was a hamburger, no bun, of course, cooked in bacon grease, and a big piece of salmon with crispy skin. It was delicious. But anyway, so those are the things that my body felt good eating. And at the time, I did eat vegetables. It was actually only till a few weeks ago I was eating vegetables. And but a lot of meat and some carbs, but very little. And so forward to 2020, we all know what happened then. I don't need to talk about that. But 2020, uh, everyone was stuck at home, and I was, looking people on Facebook. Everyone was saying, like, kind of, they were joking about it. It's not funny, like, oh, we're all gonna stay home and get fat. Like, screw that. Like, I mean, I've been thinking, I always think about my health and the health of my kids, and doing the best things for them. So I was like, we're stuck at home, but I'm gonna, I got back into a daily yoga routine, found a great app that I can do videos every day. I did them by myself. When I wake up, I spend, every morning I wake up, and it's a two-step process for me: yoga and coffee. I know some people have a problem with coffee. I drink it, whatever, it makes me happy. And so I would do my yoga by myself, but then after the kids are up, my daughter likes to do yoga with me. Um, and then I was really focusing on just giving everyone the best nutrition possible. Um, and around that time, my mom, who years before, like maybe 10 years ago, she'd introduced me to the Weston A. Price. So I was already back on board with eating lots of red meat and lots of, and bacon's my friend and all that stuff. But now she was like really zeroing in on the low carb. And my sister was as well. And so, like so many, we started watching the videos of Dr. Barry, who is a hero, I think, and Dr. Jason Fung, who, fun fact, looks and sounds almost exactly like my ex-husband. But he has some good advice, and then I gradually, the others, like Judy Cho, I like her a lot. She's got very balanced, and found your channel and others, and just started learning, and it made sense. And I'd lost my taste for processed food years ago. Just if it's fakey, doesn't taste good to me. I know they have these chemicals that supposedly sugar and all that, it's addictive. And I respect it as for some people, but luckily it's not for me. And the fact that, people are saying, oh, eat this, eat plant-based, eat these manufactured veggie burgers because you're saving the planet. How? I don't get that. And so that doesn't taste good to me, although I know it does to some. But then they're saying eat this kale. It's good for you and you're meant to eat it. But it's disgusting and it makes my stomach hurt. But beef is natural and salmon's natural and butter comes from milk, which is natural. And I feel good when I eat it. And isn't that like if our bodies are naturally feeling good and saying, I want this, that's the natural way to eat. Because if we're predisposed to saying like this cauliflower tastes like butt, then then obviously we're not meant to eat it. But if we're saying nom nom, steak, it makes sense, right? So that's how I found carnivore. Very long story.
So what's a day like for you, and what changed after going carnivore?
Well, I didn't need to lose weight, and I'm at the weight I'm happy with, and I didn't have any health problems. I just did it because I wanted to be healthy and I wanted my kids to be as healthy as they can. And, hopefully it would help with some of their autism, traits. And I can go into more of that later if you want. But I just did it to make us healthy. But the biggest change I saw was, well, the carnivore, well, it's carnivore-ish. I eat mostly like at home I cook mostly meat, eggs, some dairy, but then I make bone broth in my Instant Pot. But I do allow every now and then I'll get some sushi or like a bowl of ramen or some dumplings. But like if I get the ramen, I'm mostly interested in the broth and the meat. I'll have maybe a few bites of noodles. But or I'll have the occasional piece of chocolate. The reason I do that, and it's not every day, it's just occasionally, is because I know myself, and if I was like, I can only ever eat animal products ever again forever, if something happened, because life happens. And, sometimes you're in a situation and, you don't want to be rude and someone offers something, or you never know. And if that happened and I was not allowing myself that flexibility, the disordered eating and thinking my brain would go spiraling. Like, oh my God, this is happening again. And it hasn't for so long. And it would not be healthy for me. So I mostly eat animal products. And every now and then I'll have like, a piece of chocolate or whatever. Or so, but at home, I usually eat. Oh, so the changes, there's that, and I do fasting. I do 16 to 18-hour fast. My kids don't, but I do. But, and I was worried at first, would that trigger any disordered thoughts or eating? It doesn't. It's the opposite. It's this freedom that, like, I'm not focused on how much am I eating or calories, because calories are BS anyway. But it's that, because I'm fasting, I know that when I'm eating, I'm focusing on the quality of the food I'm putting in my mouth. Is this nourishing? Is this going to sustain me? Is this going to make me feel good? Will I enjoy it? And I'm not afraid of food anymore, And that's that freedom after like decades of torturing myself. It just feels great. And a more recent development is I stopped eating vegetables because I noticed that, and I do love some. I love Brussels sprouts cooked with bacon. I can still eat bacon. Bacon's my friend. But I loved how the bacon grease would get soaked up in the Brussels sprouts. It tastes really good to me. But I was noticing that like my ankles would swell up. Like they didn't hurt, but they would swell up sometimes, and I couldn't figure out why. And then then I was like, well, what will happen if I cut the vegetables out and my ankles don't swell anymore? And I'm not spending so much time on the toilet. I know people say this all the time. I'm not spending so much time on the toilet. I'm not farting as much. And so I'm a lot more comfortable. And so those are the big changes I'm seeing in myself. And just a general, my anxiety and depression are a lot better too. They're not completely gone, but a lot better.
And sorry, are you eating 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day?
2 meals a day. And I know like a lot of people do, like I'm kind of the opposite of most people who fast. Most people don't eat till much later, but I like to, like, I wake up very early, like some people would say ridiculously early, because I have 3 kids on the spectrum and I'm on the spectrum and I'm a single mom. So I like to wake up and have some time for me and just kind of focus on, just get my day started well. I do yoga. I have my coffee. I'll like watch some British TV programs I like. I started studying Mandarin Chinese when my oldest was about 1. He's 21 now. So now it's just maintenance, but I like review Chinese. I have a language partner in Taiwan that I will speak with because my kids are half Chinese. Their dad was born in Taiwan. And so, I'll do all that before the kids are up. And it just kind of helps me to kind of calibrate my day. So I have my breakfast then, which is usually, it can be like some combination of any of these things, like eggs, chicken, or duck, because duck eggs are awesome. Or like Trader Joe's has these cans of sardines with skin and the bone, or smoked mussels, which I like, or bacon, like some combination of those things. Lunch is usually one of those things too, but also like salmon or beef of some sort, or sometimes chicken, but like bone in, skin on, thighs. Chicken breasts are sad. And so usually those kind of things.
Nice. And so you mentioned autism traits. Is carnivore helping at all with that as far as the kids go?
A bit. And I wanted to bring this up because I know you always hear about these miraculous cures, like my kid started speaking and all this, and no miraculous cures, but improvement. Like my kids are all on the spectrum and all in very different ways. My oldest son, there's a lot of stimming and echolalia. Do you know what echolalia is?
No, I don't. Could you explain?
Basically like repeating of phrases, could be scripting from TV shows, or it could be just like repeated phrases or sounds. And when I was younger, they thought I had Tourette syndrome, and now I realize it's autism. I got diagnosed last year, but and that's part of the reason I sought out a diagnosis. Is I had some physical tics. I like flapped my arms and I made sounds and like clicks and hums and stuff. And I don't do that anymore. But my son does, and but he can speak and he can take care of himself and stuff. And my daughter, my youngest, she doesn't have the stimming, but she does do a little scripting. But she can speak and she can take care of herself. And she's like me. She loves to sing and she dances and she's fun. My middle child, my younger son, has the most issues. He's nonverbal. He can walk and he can dress himself, but he has some trouble with some other stuff, like fine motor stuff, and other things that so they've all had sleep issues, like they're up a lot at night. But since I've really dialed it back and they mostly eat meat now, my daughter is very picky. I kind of need to mix a little rice with her meat for now. I'm hoping that'll change. but they're sleeping a lot better. There's a calmness, an improvement in focus. And so I think if anyone who has autistic kids tries, like, even if there's not the miracle, then who knows, maybe one day my son will talk. I don't know. If he doesn't, though, there's still improvements. And so if other parents, like, they do it and they don't see these miracles, the little improvements are a big deal. And my younger son, the one I was just telling you about, he's always loved meat. Like, he's carnivore by nature. Like he could eat a whole pack of bacon if you let him. Like, he could eat his weight in in pulled pork. I mean, he like just loves meat. Like, I'll give him dinner tonight. It was sausage and bacon and eggs, and he just like sat down and like he like laughed in delight at the plate, and he was just joyful. He loves his animal products. So he knows what he needs.
That's great. Um, so I think one of the things when you talk about focus, I kind of I see most kids as having struggling with focus in different ways,
Yeah,
but I guess for when you have autistic children with an improvement in focus, that must be a massive deal, right?
it really is. It really is, like, because especially since they are all so different. And my daughter has some kind of ADHD traits, or they kind of go hand in hand. And so just get them to listen and not have to call their name 4 or 5 times before they come and pay attention to what I'm saying.
As a father, I can definitely relate to the calling a million times to get it to get their attention. Yeah.
I'm like, I know you heard me. Yeah. And luckily, though, even though my daughter is a picky eater, the stuff she eats is healthy. She loves salmon. That's her favorite thing. She loves full fat plain Greek yogurt. She loves beef. Unfortunately, like with the meats, she does like them like with a carb. But I can give her the smallest amount of rice and she'll eat it. It can be mostly salmon. She'll still eat it if there's like this much rice. And my kids have never really cared for, they don't drink soda. They've never liked it. They don't really eat a lot of sugary things. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Um, so for you and your family, where does this go from here? You plan to be carnivore for life or eating this way for life?
well, I mean, I don't see why not, because I feel good. I mean, I'm even like, oh, someday would I eat Brussels sprouts again, because I kind of miss them, but I don't miss all the farting. And and I even like, when I have like a small taste of something every now and then, I don't crave it after. It's not like, oh, I had a small piece of cake, I want to eat a whole cake now. It's because it's kind of like, I never here's a good analogy. I've never gotten why people hit the snooze button, because once my alarm goes off, if I hit the snooze button, I'm not going to be able to relax. 5 minutes later, I'm going to have to get back up. What's the point? It's kind of like that. Like, if I have a taste of like a piece of pie or something, I'm not going to want more. I'm good, because if I have more, I won't feel good. And then I'll be upset with myself for eating all that. So, like, I wake up and I'm up. I have a piece of cake. I don't need any more. Maybe for a year. I'm good. So yeah, I can see myself eating this way for life, because I don't want to go back to feeling like garbage. And and I want to make sure that the food I put in my body is quality.
Definitely. And do you get feedback from anyone around you, like friends or extended family that are like, "What are you doing? Like, what don't you need fiber?"
Well, I don't really get out that much, because I am a single mom to 3 autistic kids, so I actually have a very isolated life. But people have told me, and I hope that they're not just being nice, that I don't look as old as I am. So that makes me feel good. You know, and as far as my family, they're all well, my mom and my sister are on board, so the holidays are really easy because we're actually in the majority, and most of the dishes at, like, say, Thanksgiving and Christmas are low carb. And and then there's, you know, my dad is he doesn't have the best diet, and he knows that he should be eating this way. Like, he sees that me and my sister are and he sees how well we're doing on it, and my mom too. Like, I hope she doesn't mind me saying she reversed her type 2 diabetes. And I mean, that is proof. I know you hear all these anecdotes, but yeah, this is someone in my life who did. And you know, I think they see that my mood is better. I'm not as I was very just anxious and kind of moody before. And I don't know. I kind of don't let the things get to me that aren't worth. There's not. I don't let things get to me that I don't need to bother with anymore. And so I think that's the biggest thing. And my mom has commented, you know, you're a lot nicer to be around.
That's always kind of heartening but confronting to hear that kind of feedback, you know, like, because you think back and what was I like?
Oh, I know I was not fun. I mean, I wasn't like terrible, but I think it was a lot easier to get me, like, I took things more personally, and I got upset about things, you know. I didn't have I was a lot more thin-skinned back then.
Juliet, do you have any social media, any way of reaching out to you?
I have a YouTube channel, and I've only got a couple of videos on it now, but I'm hoping that maybe if people watch that, I'll be encouraged to do more. I've got it's mainly, I'm gonna use it for music because I'm a singer and songwriter, and I also want to do daily gratitude, and I've actually just started posting stuff because I want to do music and gratitude mainly to motivate myself. I'm putting it out there in public so that I can. There's a lot of negativity, I think, online, and as I slowly start to get my I'm going to slowly get back on Instagram, and I am on Facebook. That's mostly for friends and family. But when I do, I'm going to cut back on a lot of my subscriptions and subscribe more to things about, like, cute monkeys and happy stuff and fluffy stuff. So my YouTube is going to be for, like, music and positive affirmations and gratitude, just the good stuff that I feel is missing in a lot of social media. So if anyone wants to follow me, I've got 2 videos up now, but I'm going to put more. I plan to. Um, and so it's just my little display thing right there. It's my name, and anyone can follow me there, and and I would be happy to have them.
Well, thank you very much for coming on and sharing your story with us, Juliet. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really enjoy your content, and I think it's a fun way to get the carnivore message out there.